Liverpool host City rivals Everton in the Merseyside derby on Monday Night Football. Jurgen Klopp's side are sitting in 10th place in the Premier League and in danger of not finishing in the top four. Liverpool's 3-0 capitulation at Wolves last Saturday was so insipid Jurgen Klopp decided to give the players 2 days off, while the manager himself went for a long walk to try and clear his mind ahead of the visit of Everton on Monday Night Football. However, whether a week on the training ground is long enough for Klopp and his coaching staff to fix the team's problems, which are multiple, is hard to say given their ever-worsening displays this year. Klopp had called his side's 3-0 drubbing at Brighton in January the worst loss of his 20-plus-year managerial career, and yet the defeat at Molineux was in many ways even more wretched as the visitors found themselves 2-0 down after just 12 minutes to a team fighting relegation and who had scored a league-low 12 goals all season heading into the game. And the final ignominy came with the hosts playing keep ball in the closing stages, while the home fans chanted, "You're getting sacked" in the morning, in Klopp's direction as the German tried to understand his side's latest rudderless performance. The reasons for Liverpool's collapse from the team that nearly won it all less than a year ago to one that now cannot win at all have been pored over and analyzed in great detail for some time now, from their draining 63-game campaign last time around, to the shortened close season for a partly aging squad, coupled with injuries and so a much-changed lineup. Klopp has made 58 changes with 27 players used so far this season, and a subsequent loss of form to key individuals, all resulting in a huge drop in confidence with results falling off a cliff. So much so, in fact, that Liverpool head into Monday's Merseyside derby languishing down in 10th place in the Premier League and still looking for their first win of the year. If the season had started in 2023, the Reds would be bottom of the table. After Everton's visit, Liverpool also host Real Madrid and Man United, 3 season-defining fixtures, all at Anfield where in contrast to their struggles on the road this season, they have lost just one in all competitions. And with integral first-teamers like Diogo Jota, Virgil van Dijk, Roberto Firmino and Ibrahima Konate also all shortly set to return from injury, there may be some light at the end of the tunnel for the Reds' beleaguered manager. Klopp says training has been super intense in the build-up to Monday's game, with the players looking incredibly fresh. So what will he and his coaches have been working on all week as they look for a reaction against their neighbors from Stanley Park? There are no prizes for guessing where Everton will look to hurt Liverpool at Anfield on Monday night, with even Klopp acknowledging as much in his pre-match press conference on Friday. "Set pieces will be very important for us," he said. "You could see that in Everton's last game. That's how they scored in the end, versus Arsenal. We prepare for the team we saw against Arsenal." New Everton boss Sean Dyche will have been licking his lips, though, when analysing Liverpool's struggles in defending set plays, even more so since the loss of Virgil van Dijk to injury, with the Reds having let in 5 goals, excluding penalties, via this avenue this season compared with 7 in the whole of the previous campaign. The influential Netherlands central defender pulled his hamstring in Liverpool's 3-1 loss at Brentford at the start of the year when the visitors looked like conceding from every corner, the same route Everton breached Arsenal's back line last weekend. And all this from a club that previously led the way when it came to training ground innovations such as bringing in throw-in coaches, or the use of neuroscientists Neuro 11 to help aid their penalty shootout record. So, expect a lot of work to have gone into this area with assistant manager Peter Krawietz, who is in charge of set pieces, in training this week as they look to get back on track. Much of the focus in the aftermath of Liverpool's loss at Wolves focused on Klopp's press conference clash with James Pearce, after the Athletic's Reds correspondent dared to ask the question that was on everyone's lips at Molineux: why have the team been making such slow starts to games this season? In fact, the stats are alarming, with Liverpool having conceded more times, 5, in the opening 5 minutes of games than any other Premier League side this season, while they have also been trailing at halftime in 8 of their 20 league matches. The answer probably lies in the number of changes Klopp has had to make at the heart of his back line this season, with all 4 of his centre-backs having been sidelined at some point, while he has also barely been able to field his first-choice central defensive partnership of Van Dijk and Konate. Neither will be available due to injury on Monday, meaning Klopp will have to once again rely on Joe Gomez and Joel Matip to bring some stability to a defense that has now let in more league goals than in the whole of last season, including just one clean sheet on the road. With both men, who only played together for the first time this season at Molineux last weekend, having been badly at fault in recent games, Klopp will be hoping a clear week on the training ground may have ironed out some of those glaring errors and concentration issues. Klopp's mentality monsters played every single possible game last season, never knowing when they were beaten. If an opponent ever scored first, which was rare, there was never any panic, or concern that the team would not turn things around, which they did on numerous occasions, and often in the dying embers of matches. This season, however, the opposite is true as heads collectively drop whenever Liverpool concede first in the league, which has happened 12 times, with the Reds only going on to win 2 of those games, a sign of waning confidence levels among the players. Much of this comes back to the players, and even the managers, judging by his exasperation in the Molineux dugout last Saturday, body language, although Klopp did report his charges had shown aggression, determination, readiness, focus and intensity in training this week. Now they need to bring all those fighting qualities with them onto the pitch on Monday night. In Andy Robertson and Trent Alexander-Arnold, Liverpool possess 2 of the top 3 defenders when it comes to Premier League assists, with the former having recently moved to head of the list on 54, while the latter sits in 3rd place with 46 to his name. Incredible, then, to think Alexander-Arnold has set up just 1 league goal so far this campaign, in sharp contrast to last season, and in 2018-19, when he laid on 12 goals, while he had 13 assists when the Reds won the league in 2019-20. In fact, one of the abiding memories of that title-winning campaign was the duo's almost telepathic relationship as they bombed forward on opposite flanks, perhaps best demonstrated in the build-up to Liverpool's second goal against Man City at Anfield in November 2019 as the England international found his partner with a raking crossfield pass, before the Scotland left-back picked out Mohamed Salah to nod the Reds 2-0 in front. Tellingly, though, goals from those sources have been all too rare this season, with the fullback suffering from the team's collective malaise, meaning Klopp and his coaching staff will have been working hard all week on ways to reinvigorate 2 of Liverpool's most creative attacking forces in a bid to get the side firing again. Most of the blame for Liverpool's annus horribilis has been laid at the door of their stagnating midfield, the first choice of Jordan Henderson, Fabinho and Thiago Alcantara, who appear to have aged significantly in front of our very eyes this season. So much so, in fact, that Klopp has even resorted of late to axing his skipper and Fabinho, who has been a shadow of the player oft dubbed last season as the world's best holding midfielder, with Stefan Bajcetic and Naby Keita, who is reportedly set to leave the club on a free this summer, taking their place. And while 18-year-old Bajcetic has shown as a number 6 in recent weeks, that change of personnel has not had the desired effect, with opponents still finding it far too easy to get at Liverpool's back line. An obvious sign of that is 2 revealing statistics you just would not expect to see Liverpool appearing under, with the Reds having offered up a mind-blowing 64 big chances in the league, the second most behind Fulham, 66, while the club's player of the season, Alisson, has faced 68 shots, the 4th most of any goalkeeper this season. All of which has resulted in Liverpool conceding on average 0.25 goals from fast breaks this campaign, compared to 0.02 in the previous campaign, while their metrics are also down comparatively when it comes to possession won in the final third and high turnovers as their previously famed gegenpress has malfunctioned. And when a team's pressing goes awry, it can go gradually, then suddenly, as Ernest Hemingway once wrote about going bankrupt. The problem for Klopp is he has already tried mixing things up in the middle of the park, but nothing has changed, and with few real alternatives, his options are limited, although Henderson should replace the injured Thiago on Monday night. While there has been plenty of attention on Liverpool's labouring midfield of late, that has actually tended to camouflage their front line, which used to operate as a well-oiled machine, but is now spluttering and misfiring as a result of 2 new cogs being added. One of those new pieces in the 3-man attack is Darwin Núñez, signed from Benfica in a club record £85 million deal last summer to replace the Bayern Munich-bound Sadio Mane, but has just 5 league goals to his name so far. The Uruguay striker has missed a league-high 16 big chances in the league this season, although he, and fellow new forward Cody Gakpo, who only moved to Anfield in January, should be cut some slack in their debut campaigns at the club. The same, however, cannot be said of their strike partner Sulla, who has netted just 7 times, with 4 assists, in the top flight after finally getting the bumper new deal he had been after last summer. Sulla, who turned 30 in June, had 16 goals and 9 assists at the corresponding stage last season, but as with Núñez, has been hit and miss in front of goal for much of this campaign, spurning 12 big chances. And with the defense currently leaking goals at an alarming rate, Klopp could really do with his strikers refinding their scoring touch, which is more likely to happen the more the trio play with each other, as the Reds' boss waits for the likes of Jota, Firmino and Luis Diaz to all return from injury.
You have just watched the Football Wonders product. Let us know what you suppose by opinion below. If you're interested, hit the like and subscribe to catch the next videos. I'll see you there.